Have you ever pondered, deeply considered the unprecedented scale of devastation that a contemporary military assault can inflict? This question must not be taken lightly, but permitted to resonate, to strike a profound chord within your conscience. A stark illustration of this unsettling reality can be observed in the recent Israeli military operation in Gaza. The aftermath is no less than a horrific spectacle, the destruction nearly incomprehensible. It has resulted in a disturbing wiping out of 1/3 of structures in Gaza. The death count? An overwhelming 20,000 lives lost. For a clearer understanding, let's draw a comparison. Juxtapose it with the annihilation caused by the Allied bombings of Germany during the Second World War. The effect of today's warfare is catastrophically more devastating. Over 33% of structures have been demolished in Gaza, a stark contrast to the 10% of structures one of history's most brutal wars. The bone-chilling magnitude of the devastation serves as an ominous testament to the horrifying capabilities of modern military technology. This is not a mere statistical analysis, it's about lives torn apart, homes converted to rubble, and communities broken into fragments. As we expose deeper layers of this reality, the grave severity of the situation pierces through the heart. To understand the monumental impact, we need to scrutinize the tools of destruction. At the heart of the devastation in Gaza are the bombs used, primarily the 2,000-pound bunker busters. These bombs, believed to be made in the United States, are causing a level of destruction unparalleled in recent history. So, why are these large bombs being used, especially when smaller, potentially less damaging munitions are available? The answer lies in the tactics employed by the militant group, Hamas. Israel asserts that Hamas fighters cunningly embed themselves among civilians and utilize complex tunnel networks for shelter and weapon transportation. These underground infrastructures are not easily targeted by smaller, less powerful ordnance. The 2,000-pound bombs, however, are proficiently effective against such subterranean structures, penetrating deep into the earth before unleashing their deadly blast. This makes them a weapon of choice for Israel's military, even though their use in such a densely populated area as Gaza has catastrophic implications. The rapid pace of Israel's aerial campaign, combined with the use of these large weapons, leaves little room for measures that could minimize harm to civilians. While other nations attempt to observe and assess the presence of civilians before striking a building, the intensity of Israel's campaign makes this level of care challenging, if not impossible. So as we grapple with the images of destruction and the staggering loss of life, we must remember that the choice of weapon is a crucial factor in the destructive aftermath we witness today. A crisis of this magnitude cannot go unnoticed on the world stage. The international community has been vocal, calling for an immediate ceasefire. The destruction and loss of life in Gaza has been met with widespread condemnation, and the calls for peace are growing louder by the day. However, the situation is far from black and white. The Biden administration, for instance, has continued to supply arms to Israel, a move that has drawn criticism from some quarters. At the same time, President Biden has acknowledged the dwindling international legitimacy of Israel due to its indiscriminate bombing, a significant shift in stance. The international response has been a complex mix of politics, alliances, and ethical considerations. Amid the outcry and the diplomatic maneuvering, there are no easy solutions. The continued supply of arms to Israel, despite the scale of destruction, has raised questions about the balance between strategic interests and humanitarian concerns. As nations grapple with their roles and responsibilities, the people of Gaza continue to bear the brunt. Beyond the statistics and politics, there are human lives at stake. When we examine the aftermath of the Israeli military campaign in Gaza, we see the impact on everyday life. Homes turned to rubble, schools scarred by explosions, hospitals struggling to function amidst the debris, mosques echoing with silence, and stores left in ruins. This is not just about buildings, but about the people who once filled these spaces. Imagine children who no longer have a classroom to learn in or a home to return to. Picture patients in desperate need of medical care, but the hospitals are barely standing. Consider the worshippers whose place of peace and prayer is now a memory. Think about the local business owners who've lost their livelihoods overnight. From the Israeli perspective, Hamas is held responsible for these civilian casualties. The argument is that the militants have embedded themselves within these civilian infrastructures, using them as shields and turning them into targets. This perspective, while it does shed some light on the complexity of the situation, does not diminish the tragic reality that civilians are bearing the brunt of the conflict's devastation. The human toll of this conflict is not just measured in the death toll or the physical destruction, it seeps into the fabric of society, disrupting education, healthcare, commerce, and religious practices. It leaves psychological scars that may take generations to heal. The human cost is a stark reminder of the real consequences of warfare. We must remember that behind every statistic, there is a person, a family, a community, and each one of them counts, each one of them matters.